CMPRadio.net. It's the station. CMPRadio.net, the voice of Chester.
Delco Sports 360. Good Monday night. Dave Burman with you. And thank you, our engineer, Jean-Pierre Bryce. Special guest, Chester High grad, great athlete, 1976. So I graduated 76 from Nether Providence. Ed Bailey, here he is to my left. Ed graduated Chester High, 76, and Ed wrestled, played soccer, multi-sport athlete. He is the new head wrestling coach for Chichester High School in Boothwyn. And Ed, congratulations on that job. And you're never too old to be a coach, but you look great, man.
Yeah, thank you very much. I spent time with my grandson. We go to the gym a couple of days a week, and we bang it out a little bit. So it's always good to stay in shape and to keep myself in shape.
I was on the radio in a high school wrestling hotbed, Mifflin County, which is near State College, and Lock Haven, so you know that area. And we had a couple of guys, the Hidley boys, win state championships when I was up there. It was just an incredible fanaticism of wrestling up there. It's crazy. And probably high school wrestling has the wildest crowds, in my opinion. I don't know what they're like here in Delco, but up in Central PA, they're insane.
Yeah, I had a situation. I took over Interborough a long time ago. This was one of my first head coaching jobs. So what we did immediately is AC/DC come out with Back and Blood. So that was we came out to that, and the people in the stands went absolutely crazy. It was just a great time, and they really, and that just spurred everybody on to keep coming and keep coming and keep coming, and we did very well at Interborough. Tough kids.
So after you graduated Chester High in 76, but first I want to go to some of your mentors at Chester High, some of the great coaches, soccer. Back then, I think it was the basketball coach was Cliff Wilson. He was in his second or third year. And just Chester sports, there was a lot more sports being played at Chester High back then than there is now. And hopefully we can get wrestling back, and hopefully we can get soccer. We're working on that, among other sports. But tell us about some of your mentors.
Well, my mentors in high school were Joe Carroll. Joe was always there for me, did a tremendous amount of things for me when I was in high school. Didn't have much going on at home, and Joe made sure everything was taken care of. Also, Ernie Tro was my soccer coach, and him and Bill Berland, who was also a coach at Chichester, just kept very good control of me. Just said, kid, we're not going to let you fall through the cracks, and we went from there. As far as wrestling, a guy named Dale Bonsall grabbed me. He was the coach at Westchester University, and when I was a kid, somebody dared me to go to a wrestling tournament. I was in judo. It took me, let's see if you can go to a wrestling tournament, see how you do. So I'm taking guys, I'm throwing them to their backs, and
wow.
So I get to the finals. I don't throw the kid. I don't throw the kid to his back. So what happens is, referee flips the coin, flips the disc, says top or bottom. I'm looking at him like he's got two heads. Like I don't have any idea what you're talking about.
Right.
I have no idea. And Dale says to me, Dale says to the ref, give me 2 minutes with him. So he puts me down on my knees and gets behind me. I'm like, yo, what are you doing back here? But he, from that point on, from when I was 10, took me all the way through all the way to the United States championships and then into the international championships. This very, very good guy. He just passed away last December. Dale Bonsel's his name, a very good guy.
So some of your mentors at the Chester High. Yeah. And then after, well, anyway, what part of Chester did you grow up in?
Well, we were in a situation where we moved a lot. So okay. I lived in Sun Village 3 times. I lived in the Bennett Homes. I lived in Lamoken Village. I lived in Holland Gardens. So we would rent houses, and then kind of what would happen is we would lose that house, so we'd have to move on to something else.
Wow!
But in 3rd grade, I had Mrs. Caldwell, Mrs. Cardwell, Mrs. Caldwell.
Oh my gosh!
She was like, "What are you doing back here?" I said,
Well, I went to Toby. I bounced around a lot too, living on 3rd Street, Chester, where my mom grew up. Elman's Variety Store, and then we moved to the Folsom. I could have been a Ridley kid, and then we moved to Toby Farms. Yeah. And I lived there from 64 to 70. Then we moved out of Chester Township, Chester School District to Wallingford, so another Providence, 1976. So you probably remember some of the guys there. We had some great football, Coach McFadden.
I got to tell you, I had a guy that I competed against, Todd Hammersley.
Oh, Tom Hammersley.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he was, we were equal in our abilities. And, tough kid. They just call him the Hammer. And him and I would just go back and forth on the field, when I played soccer. We both played center.
Oh, he played soccer.
Yeah.
Okay.
We both played center mid, and we kind of shadowed each other the whole time. After the game, we give each other a hug. See you soon.
Wow. Do you remember Chalky Wright?
Yeah.
Chalky, the late great Chalky Wright was the greatest. He was my baseball coach, Mr. Van Koski, Mr. Smith, who coached the other Providence girls basketball teams.
Mike Ferguson was that wrestling coach?
Never met him. Yeah. I never met him. I have to look up I have my 76 year.
Mr. Shoemaker was there at that time. Right?
He was the principal. He had a flat top, didn't he?
Yeah.
He was an intimidating guy. Yeah, he was there, Mr. Shoemaker. Unbelievable. So you graduate Chester High 76, and then the incredible career goes on. I got all these. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, you can write a book about you, Ed. So tell us the journey after high school.
So I did the traditional thing. I went from youth club to middle school assistant, middle school head, high school assistant at St. James with Brian Phillips, to high school head coach at Interborough. And then all my Brandywine Youth Club kids were at Chichester coming up through, and I went back and went with Ray Stracua for 4 years. And we did very, very well with those guys. Those guys actually, it took 7 guys to states that 1 year.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so we had a good time. Then I went to Williamson.
Right.
At one time, I was coaching at BYC, Williamson, and Chichester at the same time. I was just doing all kinds of stuff. And that's how I got the award from USA Wrestling. Yeah,
this is an article, 1997, by Brian Freeman of the Delco Times. And tell us all about that. They say that you live in Aston now, right?
Yeah.
For many years. Tell us about that. You don't have a flat top there. That's you, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's when I had the old curls going on.
I used to have kind of an afro too back in the day. So tell us about this article.
So what happened is I got named the National Assistant Coach of the Year from USA Wrestling USA, the magazine, and it was a pretty cool situation. It was a situation that I had done so much in wrestling in southeastern Pennsylvania, and then I had also taken teams to Russia. And we beat the Russians 2 out of 3 when we were over in Moscow, and that was during the coup, basically, when Gorbachev.
What year was that?
There. That was 1990.
Okay. It's funny, I did news on the radio, but it went in one ear, went out the other. You would think I knew what I was. Mikhail Gorbachev, I remember announcing his name, and I was just reading the news. But
actually, Putin was our KGB agent. That was pretty crazy. So he was involved in judo at that time, very, very heavily.
Yeah, I saw somebody showed me or said there was a picture of him on a horse recently, and because somebody was making a joke about me. I posted a picture of myself playing basketball yesterday, and then somebody said, "Oh, you look like you're in good a shape as Putin." I go, "Putin,
Well, he's not
Putin."
in good shape now. He's mentally struggling right now.
Oh, but he looked on that picture with the horse.
Yeah, that's a picture's 10.
So wrestling in Russia is good.
Very good, very good. They're some of the best wrestlers in the world. When they split up, when the Soviet Union split up, all those countries became their own assets at that point. So what happened is, before that, you would have 6, 7 deep in every weight class. Like you'd go to a tournament, an international tournament, you'd find a ton of wrestlers, ton of Russian wrestlers there, and they were all just as good as each other. They don't do the system that we do. Our system is based upon winning. They choose their athletes. They have a group of people come in and choose the athletes based upon his character, his ability. If he's got any problems, they don't want anybody with any problems. So they do it completely different than the United States.
What if he's not a good wrestler? Because in wrestling, you hear about the politics of sports, favoritism. You can't have that in wrestling, right? And tell everybody here you got to wrestle off to make the team or make the weight.
That's the way we do it here, but unfortunately over there it's strewn a little bit differently. It's just a little crazier over there.
So you dealt with overseas.
Yeah. When we went over, I had taken a team in '89 or '90. I took a team in '90, and they were okay, and we did pretty good. I came back and I grabbed a team of southeastern Pennsylvania kids strictly, and we trained for 6 weeks. I had every college coach, Dave Eisenhower from Trent State, Tommy Scully from Lehigh. They all came in and worked with these kids, and we went over and beat the Russians 2 out of 3.
Man,
and they were upset with us. So
we got to beat them. We beat them, and the Flyers beat them up. Yeah. I remember that when they came over, and they didn't like the physical hockey,
right.
And I remember that. And then the Olympics in '72, we got screwed over.
Yeah.
We should have won the Olympic championship. The Russians. You remember the controversy? Oh, it was crazy. Yeah. So anyway, we've had some battles with them in sports.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and right now they're in such because of this war. There's it's just a mess right now. Their athletes are actually going to different countries now to wrestle.
Okay.
They're going to the Kazakhstans, the Uzbekistans, and they're going to France. They're going to Ireland to wrestle.
Wow.
And traditionally Irish.
Well, you know how to pronounce those names, too. Yeah. You're very worldly, obviously. And so it's a great article by Brian.
Yeah.
It's a great article.
Yeah, and I didn't realize until earlier this year that Brian passed, because he passed during COVID. And what a shame. Great guy.
Because Harry Chaikin, they were talking about him. And so how long did you wrestle for?
I wrestled from the time I was 10 years old till I was 34.
Up to 34.
Yeah, so I wrestled competitively, in the United States and internationally. I would go overseas and to Poland and compete in our tournaments and things like that. I had certain tournaments that I really, really enjoyed being with the people, and that they were,
High school wrestling in this area, I noticed it's okay in Delco. We haven't had that many state championships. We had Hunter Katka from Sun Valley 2 out of 3 years, but a lot of it's really good in Bucks County, Montgomery County. Is there a reason for that?
No, it's just a whole different mentality. We traditionally in Delaware County haven't really pushed wrestling. And we really need to get back into that. I had it for a couple of years where we really pushed it when I had the Screaming Eagles team. We had 200 kids in that room. I mean, them kids were all from all over. And you have to push it a little bit. And now with girls wrestling coming in and the PIAA, it's going to be a big factor now. So I know with me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have I have a little small company called Bailey Self-Defense. So what I'll do is I'll do a self-defense course in the Chi wrestling room. And I'll tell the girls after I get done, I'll say, well, while you're here, would you like to see a wrestling match to see if you'd like it? Just to see if we can get some girls out. They have one girl that wrestles now, Savannah Kirk.
Right.
And my granddaughter wrestles for Garnet Valley.
Oh, nice. So is that a PIAA sport officially now?
It is now. It is.
So how many girls do you have to have? It's going to be their own team, though.
Yeah, no. Well, if they have a team, then it'll be their own team. If not, they can wrestle against the boys, and at the end of the year, they go to the girls' state championships, and they can wrestle in the girls' state championships. But this year, it'll be at the Giant Center. Last year, it was the Central Dolphin.
Really, the state?
The girls' state.
Oh, the girls. Okay.
And, it was
Central Dolphin.
too many people there, and you couldn't see. People were standing, in the mezzanine, looking down.
That's a huge. I tell you, it's a huge sport. Ed Bailey is our special guest, the new Chichester High School head wrestling coach, and born and bred in Chester, 76 grad of the Chester High Clippers. Chichester wrestling. Give me a Del Val. Chester doesn't have wrestling. Does Penwood have wrestling?
It's Penwood, Academy Park, Interborough, and Chichester at this point. At one time, there was every team had wrestling, and so they're trying to re-establish that. If they don't, then they'll be moving on to Chester, or Chichester will go to Central League or Southern Chester County,
correct,
like Sun Valley did,
right,
and made their move. Now, Sun Valley's doing very, very well right now. So as is Garner Valley with Chris Tate,
Coach Ellis.
Tommy and I go way back. I coached
He
Tommy
is intense. I love that guy.
Yeah.
Now, I forgot to ask Ernie. I had Ernie on my show. Ernie Ellis, the football. Yeah. Is that his brother? Are they brothers?
I don't know. I don't know if it's his brother or his uncle.
But Ernie, he's doing a nice job trying to build Sun Valley into a football power. Yeah. But Tommy, he's funny. He's did a great job. The 2 state champs. So it's going to be. Do you have your schedule set for next year?
Yeah, I'm all set. I came in, that's the first thing I did, is I went and looked at the schedule and said, well, what are we doing here? Does this make sense or not? Why are we wrestling this tournament? When I was with Chai before, we wrestled in the Beast of the East, but we had that caliber kid.
Yeah.
We had kids that were just very, very technically sound. So now it's a rebuilding process, and I'm gonna have to rebuild this. My assistant Mason McClure. But my basic philosophy is going to be, listen, Mason, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to teach you how to become a good coach. I'm going to teach you the technical side of the program.
Right.
And then I'm going to hand this off to you, and I'm going to be your assistant for a year. At that time, I'll be 69 years old.
But still, Fran O'Hanlon's still coaching boys basketball. He's 75 years old, and he's over at Cardinal O'Hara now. How do you like that? So, there's been some, it just keeps you young, man, and it keeps you in shape.
Yeah.
And so your Beast of the East is in Delaware,
yeah.
Mifflin County used to go there,
University of Delaware, yeah. So I've spent the last 26 years with them, and I do the college. I'm the college coach coordinator. So if a college coach comes in, what I'll do is I will give him a packet, give him the ability to go up into the hospitality room, and they can watch up there, and it's not as loud. Because you got 12 mats going at one time. Everybody's blowing whistles. It gets a little crazy, but it gives me the ability to work with kids. I was able to. I worked with Kenny Monday with the Olympic team years ago, and I was able to get Blake Bryant from Chichester to help him get into Morgan State, which is bringing their program back. It'll be the first HBCU wrestling team that was brought back.
Morgan State in right outside of Baltimore. Yeah.
So Kenny is a good friend of mine, and I called him. I said, Kenny, can you take a look at this kid? He said, well, he's already on my radar. He said, I just, but he ended up getting a scholarship to Morgan State.
Everybody knows in wrestling, Penn State and Cale Sanderson, what an unbelievable job he has done. Yeah. And what more can you say about it? How did he do it, Coach?
He's just. He's one of the finest human beings I've ever met in my life. I saw him a couple weeks ago. I was up at a breakfast in Lock Haven.
You met my buddy Bob Howard, and Tom Elling, my buddies, have helped me in wrestling back in the day.
So I went up to see Tom specifically, and Cale was there. I talked to him a little bit, but I had met Cale when he first came out of college. He and Bobby Douglas were at in Lancaster for some function, and we bought a table, which was $1,000. It was $100 a person, and just to get us to raise money for Cale when he was at Iowa State. So what happened is he remembered that night. You know, we were kind of in the front.
That's awesome.
And we had a good time with him.
Rich Vitok, was he there?
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Rich. Okay, I know all those guys. Yeah. So Bob was my wrestling announcer. He was doing Mifflin County wrestling from the '70s, play-by-play.
Yeah.
You know, the Grapevine. He was unbelievable, and the history he knew about not only Mifflin County, Lewistown, Indian Valley, Kishkaquillis, Chief Logan wrestling. He knew about the whole state. You know, he was just an absolute fanatic, and Elling is very similar. And Lopez, they still do Central Mountain High School wrestling, which is very good. They used to be
Bucky.
still there. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing the people you meet. And
Buckwater.
Western PA wrestling stuff, the Pittsburgh area,
Yeah.
no doubt about it. A Lehigh. And what more can you do? Bethlehem Catholic. Why are those kids so good in the Lehigh Valley? Easton, I think.
It's something that's something that's been, you know, kind of bred in them, and since they've been little kids, and they've been, you know, they've kind of really focused in on the sport, and they've had great coaches. Stevie Powell, who was a Westchester Henderson graduate,
Right.
went to Westchester with Dale Bonsall, and you know, the Karams have always been around. And, you know, Jody just goes into the hospital to give somebody a kidney, and found out that he has cancer in his other kidney, but he's going to be okay. They caught it in enough time, and his son Sage is a race car driver in the Indianapolis circuit. So it's cool when you see where some of these kids have gone and done very, very well. And it's the same in Delaware County. Hunter Cack is down at Virginia Tech, and his brother Ryan is at Navy with Carrie Colott.
There you go. So there's a lot of connections
Yeah.
in the sport of wrestling. So Chichester, how'd you get the job?
Yeah, I just basically had called someone. I talked to Marty Scarpato.
Who was the coach?
Marty Scarpato.
Oh, okay.
Marty was the coach. I coached Marty and his brothers years ago. So what happened with Marty is I was at the girls' state championship, and I asked him, I said, "Are you taking the kids to camp this year?" He said, "No, I'm done after this year." And I said, "Well, what's the matter?" And he said, "Well, you know, in my 35 years of being in the sport, I just, you know, I'm having a tough time. This is the hardest year I've ever had." And his son Coleman still wrestles at Chi. And I think he wants to watch his son. He also coaches soccer and coaches softball. So, you know, when you coach that many sports,
Right.
you know, it kind of takes a lot out of you. I know.
Chichester had a really good year in basketball, and they're competitive in football, obviously. They always give Chester fits in football. So you were talking about the multi-sport athletes and how many guys, NFL guys, have been great wrestlers.
Yeah, so, I mean, just you know, I looked it up today, and Stephen Neal from the New England Patriots, Carlton Hasselrig, was a three-time NCAA, three-time Division I and Division II champ. Bob Pickens played for the Chicago Bears. Jim Nance played for the Patriots. Bob Golick and Mike Golick were at Notre Dame.
Pennsylvania
They
guys.
both wrestled. Yeah.
For Pittsburgh area.
As far as Ray Lewis, Ronnie Lott, Bruce Smith, Larry Zonka, Dan Beardoff, Jim Thorpe, Chuck Knoll, the coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Right.
And then
He was a wrestler, too.
yeah. It's you know, as I was going through them, I was like, I don't remember Chuck Knoll's name being on there, but I guess he was. And then when you look at actors, it's like Tom Cruise, Bruce Willis, Ashton Kutcher, Vince Vaughn, Ludacris, Kurt Cobain, Mario Lopez, Kirk Douglas was an NCAA champ.
Kirk Douglas. Still living. Hey,
I don't know if he's still living.
Mike's the
Mike is his son.
son. Yeah. I think with the hole in the chin, They're Kirk. I think Kirk's still. I think he's still hanging in there.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he was a wrestler.
Yeah.
But how about Hall and Oates?
Yeah.
North Penn High School. It was John Oates.
John Oates.
Was a wrestler, and he did very well in the mid '60s.
Right, Robin Williams, Garth Brooks, Jay Leno, John Belushi.
Well, I can see him being a wrestler. He was
And
crazy.
Jimmy was too. His brother Jimmy was
Jimmy.
a wrestler too.
Oh, I miss
Howie
those guys.
Mandel, Gerardo Rivera, Bill Maher.
Rivera.
Yeah. So you know when
That's
you think
hard.
about it, these are guys that are just you know, kind of they speak their mind. You know, and wrestlers traditionally are impulsive people, so we kind of were able to do that, to to jump from one thing into another and be very successful at it. Business-wise, wrestlers are very, very strong in business. And I tell kids all the time, I said, let me explain something to you. If you're going to get into wrestling, always put that on your resume, because somebody's going to say, if he's a wrestler, he can go overtime. He can work hard, and it's not a problem. And I know where he's going to go.
It's one of the most grueling sports around. There's blood time. Blood's like no big deal, you know.
I just watched the Final X over in Newark, New Jersey. Jordan Burroughs got beat by Chance Marsteller, who was a Pennsylvania kid.
Where's Chance from?
Kennerdale.
Kennerdale. Man, and he was going to go to Penn State, and then something happened.
Went to Oklahoma.
Right.
Didn't like it at Oklahoma. Went to Lock Haven again. Carl Poff,
right,
from Council Rock. Carl Poff, Carl Poff helped carry Cola. He helped Chance get himself together, and it's it's just when you have mentors like that. Carl is a wonderful guy. Wonderful guy.
Well, you're a mentor now.
Yeah.
So how many kids are you going to have? How many guys are you going to have on your? You're at varsity JV, right? Mm-hmm. So how many right now you looking at a Chichester?
Right now we're looking at probably 20, 25, and and if more guys come out, which I hope they do, I'm going to be working with the football coach, Chris Craig, and we're going to do tackling drills.
There you go.
So, and I'm going to try to explain to him that, it's just a strong sport for football. It's a very, it's a hand-in-hand thing.
There's no doubt.
And
no doubt.
So, and we'll work off of that. And I'll talk to anybody I have to try to get more kids out for this sport.
Did Chris just take over?
Yeah.
Okay, so where did he come from? His background?
He was from Delaware.
He's a new head coach.
DC area.
Oh, wow.
Where LaDante.
Oh, LaDante. So that's great. So he's up here now.
Yeah.
So Chai and Penwood, hopefully they get better in football. And Ed Bailey is with us, the new head Chichester wrestling coach. Again, your assistant is going to be?
Mason McClure is my first assistant.
Where's he from?
Chai. He's Chai guy.
Okay.
And I talked to another guy today, Mark Schmidt, who also wrestled for us at Chai. And our conversation today went a little bit like this. The guys that needed to look off my paper, if I would have let them look off my paper, I'd have been varsity.
Oh, wow.
They said, "Oh, Mark, I'm sorry. I'm sorry it happened to you."
So what? I'm trying to think how many weight classes there are. It starts at 98.
No, it's 105 now.
Starts up at 105, 285 the heavyweight.
Yeah, and then you have 215 got added in, so it's 14 weight classes.
Okay, 14 weight classes. How'd you do this past year or the past couple of years? I'm sure you did some research on.
Yeah, it's been tough in the area because there's no youth club for Chichester. Rob Warnaby used to run Chaos, and just got in a situation where he just ran it so many years. Like I did at Brandywine Youth Club, you're running so many years, and sooner or later you want to say, "Hey, can somebody take this thing? I want to go up to another level."
Right.
So Rob's going to be one of my volunteer assistants, and both his boys wrestle at Chi, Grady and Riley. So it'll be a good situation to get him back around. Rob wrestled for me on a U.S. team that went to Russia and wrestled in the Austrian Grand Prix also.
Delco Times does a good job covering wrestling, I think. Yeah, I think they do a nice job.
Yeah.
And Harry Shakin's still around, been doing it for 50 years at the Delco Times. Jack McCaffrey.
Harry did the first article on me years and years ago. Joe Carroll had myself and Greg Morgan from St. James and Brian Phillips run a little youth.
That's the picture I found.
A rec center thing with Tony Feliziani and Billy.
There's a picture of you. Were you? Now I was confused with the. Is that you watching or making the move from behind the guy?
No, I was on the side.
On the side there, showing him.
Yeah.
And you were a senior that year, or?
I was a junior that year.
Junior.
Greg Morgan was a sophomore.
All right. So Harry, he did that story.
Yeah, he did that story.
Man. That's unbelievable.
So, and then I went from there to Main Street Elementary with the guy who played for the Chiefs, Sonny Arnell. Sonny Arnell was my mentor there.
Where's he from?
He was Sonny went to St. James,
Played with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, played with the Chiefs, yeah. So, and then I went to Brandywine Youth Club, and then I just continued to move from there. Garnet Valley Middle School, St. James, and then I went to Interborough. It was my first head coach job. Brian told me, he said, you're gonna get looked at for a head coach job. He said, I want you to take it. And Brian was my best man.
Nice.
So
how long you been married?
I've been married 44 years.
Okay.
Yeah, so we just did a big thing at Kings Mills. We did our 65th birthday bash for the class of 76. We had a wonderful time.
That's unbelievable.
Wonderful time.
Ed, it's incredible. It goes too fast, but we're only, both of us, 65 years old. I admire what you're doing, man, because I know how intense wrestling is, and the fans are, especially up in, as I said, Central PA, Lehigh Valley, Allentown area, they're out of control. Some of them, it's nuts.
Yeah.
Got to get the security there. I mean, it's a different. It is definitely a different type of fan.
Well, they're very knowledgeable up there. They know the sport because their kids have wrestled, their grandsons have wrestled. Even the moms know the sport.
Oh, it's
when
incredible.
I was 10 years old, a kid was pinning me. My mom ran out of bleachers, pulled him off me.
Whoa.
So my mom had to go in the top of the bleachers from that point on.
Your senior year?
No. I was like 10 years old.
Oh, okay.
And my mom pulled the kid off me. And, it was pretty hilarious. So when my boys wrestled, one wrestled at Sally's, one wrestled at Garnet Valley, we used to make my mom go up the top of the bleachers.
Still intense. Oh,
She was intense. My mom was intense.
Chester? Mom and dad from Chester?
Yeah.
Okay. Did your dad do?
My dad was a boxer. My dad boxed.
So my grandfather was a boxer, Bobby Burman.
Yeah.
Well, how old would your dad? Or
My dad died in '93, and he would be probably. I would guess he would probably be 83, 84 years old.
Did you go to Chester High?
Yeah.
Okay. So my dad, he's doing great.
My dad's name was Eddie Tracy.
Eddie Tracy.
Eddie Tracy was my dad's
I'll have to look him up. So he did boxing.
Yeah.
Okay. My dad graduated. My dad would be, he's still living. He's doing great. He's 85, Burman's Pharmacy, as you know. So but his dad, Bobby Burman, who would be 100, and he was born in 1900, 123. He was the boxer. You've probably seen some of the stuff. And Chuck Hassan, you've talked to Chuck, Mr. Historian. And there's so much history in the boxing world. And so I miss the Must Fight Boxing Club here. And we used to have that, here in Chester. Yeah. So
that's
anyway,
up in Upper Darby now.
Yeah, Dan Malarkey and those guys. I did some announcing for them too. So it's awesome, man. So your family's got the intense roots right there. I'm going to look up your dad here tonight. And then, the two assistant coaches for Chi. And as everybody, you can tell you're getting support, the athletic director and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's a new athletic director. Mike Stankavich is the new athletic director, and he's on board. He wants us to do our thing and to make sure everything's okay. And I've known Mike for years because when I was with Ray Stracula, him and Mike were very, very close friends. Yeah. And it was a good situation. And I decided that let's do this. I don't want to see this team fall. And let me pop in there and see what I can do. Technically, I consider myself one of the best technicians in the East Coast, if not the country. And so I'll show the kids some things that they little funk. So
you're going to be going to some football games.
Yeah.
And not exactly sure what Chi is going to have this year. It's a big lineman last year. Yeah. So you're going to, how many kids from the football team are going to wrestle for you?
I do not know. I do not know. And I need to sit down with Chris and say, I'm going to sit down with all the coaches.
Right.
Even the girls' coaches at this point and say, listen, can you put a good word in for me? I'm a good guy. I'm a good coach. I know what I'm doing. I can help them get into school. The advantage I have over most coaches is the fact that I was the director of enrollments at Williamson Trade School for years. So I understand that college process. And so by doing that, I understand what it takes to get you to that point, which you have to do SAT-wise, everything. And what they're looking for. I'll help you write your essay. I can help you with that.
Did you have any guys that play? Well, what was the record for Chi last year?
The record
for the varsity?
I think it was like 9-11 last year.
It's not bad.
No. He had a decent year. He's got everybody coming back but one athlete.
Great. So you've met the kids already?
I haven't.
Oh, well then.
I haven't. I know a couple of them because they wrestled in the youth club, for years. But I haven't met them. And I have a meeting, hopefully, Wednesday night. We do a team meeting with the parents and then a team meeting with the team. And we were going to go away to camp. And I told them, I said, guys, I'd really like to keep you home this year just so that I can spend more time with you. And you get used to me. I get used to you.
Yeah.
It's tough when you go to camp with kids and you don't know them because what happens is it can really leave a bad taste in your mouth for the next year. And I would rather not do that. I'd rather see them come into the room, teach them the style that I wrestle, and then see if we can go from there.
Love to see Chester get it. And we have Chester Charter High School going into the 7th year, and we get we have a co-op with the football. The basketball programs are separate. Right. Co-op track now is separate, but hopefully someday we can get wrestling back at Chester High with the co-op. I
went to the board meeting, and I sat with the board in regards to the character building aspect of wrestling. And they were very positive in the fact that they thought they were going to bring it back. Now, Beat the Streets does a lot of things in the underprivileged areas, and hopefully we can get the Beat the Streets program going out of the Boys and Girls Club.
Oh, nice, yeah.
And then we'll work from there. I was able to get them mats a couple of years ago.
Oh, beautiful.
So they have mats. And we just need to do some things like that. And I don't have a problem with going down and doing self-defense classes for the ladies and the girls and things like that, because that's very, very important in today's society.
The discipline, I don't know how wrestlers, me being just like a street ball player, and I'm not very disciplined in sports. I'm disciplined enough, but when you're wrestling and you got these guys smacking you in the head and all this stuff, you once in a while, don't you feel like just popping the guy? But you and it's amazing the restraint I've seen over the years, and the refs look for every little thing. There's little dirty undercut things they could do, and the refs are right on top of it.
Yeah. We've just, it's been harder in the room than it's been on the actual mats, the competition mats. Oh, because the guys are fighting for positions. Yeah, so our rooms have always been real tough. I do a lot of things as Dan Gable did when Dan was in Iowa, and Dan and I had years ago we had a lot of talks about different things, especially when I was at Edinburgh because the singles were black. They had an eye on them.
Right.
The only thing different was it was a buck as compared to a Hawkeye.
Yeah.
And so he kind of gave me his idea of how he runs practice and things like that, and he really helped me out a lot.
Are you going to have time, you and the wife, to go on vacation this summer? Because I know you want to do as much as you can.
We just came back from Texas. We went down for a wedding.
Yeah, you were going to be on the show last week and had a flight issue or something like that.
So we had we went down for a wedding. Two of my wrestlers were there, and the one wrestler got married. It was an Irish wedding. He had all the guys had killed.
Oh boy!
So
yeah,
it was pretty cool. And so we had a nice time down there, and we got delayed 6 times coming back. And I was like, oh man, you got to be kidding me again and again and again and again. And so you just had to deal with that. And so we'll do our thing. We're going to both retire next April.
What's your wife do?
She works customer service for Westlake Plastics.
Behind every good man is a great woman. My wife is she's the best. I do a lot of announcing. I do the announcing part. It's not as grueling as what you have to do or pressure pack, but she's around. She sees what's going on. Yeah. So it's unbelievable. Yeah, your resume is incredible here, and just coach. So you had the experience of coaching at Chichester before. They got some athletes here. They had a really good basketball season. Their best ever in program history. Clyde Jones. Have you met Coach Jones yet?
I did not.
Okay.
I have not met him yet.
Okay.
So it's been kind of trying to get this thing together. I need keys to the room so I can get in the room and get in the weight room with these kids and just make sure that we can do it the right way.
And Dan Singley, the Chichester baseball coach.
Yeah, well, I knew
Yeah.
Danny for a long time.
Yeah, so he's
Joey.
they had a good,
Joey,
really, really good year. And do you know John Mobley? And okay, John Chichester, two with the Denver Broncos, 2 World Series, and there's a chance tonight the Denver Nuggets could finally win for the first time ever the NBA World Championship. So Mobley, John's got 2 of them, and Billy Whiteshoes. What a nice guy.
He is a nice guy. John, Billy.
I bet you he would have been a great wrestler.
He would have been. He would have been. You know, John, I think, came out for a while and then just decided he didn't want to do it. You know, he was very much into his. He wanted to be a police officer, and he was, studying at Delaware County Community College also at night. So it's always good. They're good people. You know, when you get down into the Chester, the Marcus Hook, Linwood, they're salt of the earth people. I mean, they're just people that believe that they can get things done. And if you can really bolster that, I mean, the kids they'll go through a wall for you. And that's all I'm going to say to these guys. Listen, all I want you to do is to give me everything that I would give you. I'm going to let you know that I'm always going to be in your corner.
Right.
I always give my kids a hug before they go on the mat. I always give them a hug after they come off the mat. I don't care what you did on the mat. I will never criticize you in public. You praise in public and you criticize in private. That's the first thing they teach you in leadership skills.
That's awesome, man. Yeah.
You know, the last thing you need to be doing is giving a kid a hard time underneath the bleachers. That's stupid. I mean, I've watched that for so many times where I've actually said to the coach, it's about how about you stop that?
Are you going to wrestle Coatesville this year? I know Peanut Boyer.
Oh, yeah.
You know Peanut?
Yeah, I do know Peanut.
I know him from my radio days, 1989 to 2002. I was in Harrisonburg, Virginia. He was the head James Madison University wrestling coach.
Yeah.
And Peanut, he's originally from Phillipsburg, New Jersey, which is, that's a hot right across the river from Easton, the home of the Easton assassin Larry Holmes. And Peanut's great. He's done a heck of a job up there.
Yeah, he has. Again, everybody's having a problem getting kids right now. You know, the relationship that kids have with their phone is much greater than what they have in their athletic pursuits right now. So you just have to try and kind of talk to guys. You know, let them know that from the beginning, no phones in the room. Put your phone downstairs. I don't want to. When I lift with my grandson, first day he was lifting, he kept pulling his phone out, putting it on the floor. I said, Tegan, what are you doing? I said, you're wasting time. We got to get on these weights, buddy.
Yeah. You don't seem like a yeller or screamer, Ed. You seem very, very calm.
Yeah, at one time I was. I was.
Okay.
I was hollering stuff in the corner. I'd be having a headache. I'd be,
All of our shows here, by the way, at CMP Radio are archived on YouTube. You know that. So I'm going to send you the link afterwards. All right. So it's great. And I've done a bunch of shows. It's been on and in the off season. It's tough to get people together on a Monday night, and people like the old Zoom thing. But we here, we have to have the guys and the women in person. You know what I mean? So So you have 2 sons. Is that what you have?
Two boys and a daughter. Yeah.
Okay. How old are they?
My sons are 45, 44, and my daughter is 38. My daughter's still playing soccer.
Where
She
Where do they
plays
live?
Valley.
Oh, okay.
But she's playing with Colonials.
Semi-pro.
Yeah.
Semi-pro. And your 2 sons, are they involved in wrestling at all?
No, my one son has restaurants down in D.C. He's a restaurateur and an executive chef. My other son is last time I checked, the vice principal at Bullis Prep.
Oh, Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Or suburban D.C. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Bullis. Then the grandkids, how many grandkids do you have?
Grandkids, 7.
Oh.
7 grandkids.
And they all live out,
Brittany's kids live in Garnet Valley District, so they're right in Bethel. Brandon's kids live down in Potomac, Maryland, so I don't get to see them as much.
Are they all involved in sports?
Yeah.
Well, how's Garnet Valley's wrestling program?
Good. Yeah, Chris Tate is taking it over.
Oh, he's first-year head coach.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but he was the assistant for 10 years.
I'm on the Delaware County Hall of Fame, the board. Seth Bruner He just recently stepped down, but he's going to help us out. He's the athletic director of Garnet Valley. He sent me the entire history of every Garnet Valley High School sports program since it started in '69. So I have all the wrestling there. Yeah. So hopefully it'd be. I love that stuff. It's so.
Glenn Lambert was there.
Yeah.
Cap Knight, Glenn Lambert, Hutchinson was there. Hutch was the coach first. Then Glenn came in from Collingdale.
Right.
And
they have great football and they have a lot of cross athletes.
Yeah.
Strathaven wrestling, the Milligan boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's baseball, wrestling, and of course football. So they're in the state semifinals. We could, in 5A baseball, if Bonner wins tomorrow, state semis against a tough team from Shaler, Pittsburgh, and Strathaven plays Greencastle Antrim, again neutral sites, they would meet two Delco teams in the state final baseball.
Bonner's really doing well.
Yes, they are.
Is Rob Benedict their coach?
No, it's D. Barberi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So if him and Brian Feely's the head coach of Strathaven, they both go at it in the Delco League, you know, Brian. So anyway, we'll see what happens with that. What about the lacrosse play? I see China. They have lacrosse?
They do.
China? Okay.
They do. I don't know if they have men's lacrosse. They have girls lacrosse. They do.
This is an unbelievable area for lacrosse. Yeah. So I mean, you get some cross athletes there too.
Yeah, my granddaughter plays field hockey and lacrosse, and she wrestles. So it's a good situation to watch. I took her to a clinic yesterday up in Ben Salem.
Nice.
With all that mess on 95. So we had to go 476 to Ben Salem, so it took
Right. Well, at least you can go that way.
Yeah.
What grade is she in?
She's going into 9th grade.
Okay, so I'll be keeping an eye and ear out for
her dad wrestled at Chi. His name's Jimmy Dewar, and it's Reese Dewar is her name. And my grandkids love sports. They're very much into sports, and now Tegan wants to be a chef like Uncle Kyle.
Oh, nice, yeah.
So Uncle Kyle said, I don't even want you to go to culinary school. I'll teach you what you need.
Can you cook?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your favorite restaurant? Well, there's so many good restaurants around here.
I don't know, in the area.
And then, I love all the cheesesteak. I have to stay away. If I want to keep the weight off, you have to watch, so I try to pick my spots here and there. I got my man Solo Subs, Jamar Shaw. You got Phil and Jim's. You got, they're pretty much my go-to guys. I wish, but, it's just, there's so much great food in this area.
We were on our way home, and I said, let me take you to this little cheesesteak place, Thunderbird.
Where's that at?
On Westchester Pike in Broomall. And it was very, very good. But
the million restaurants around here, it's great. So we try to support them all if we can. Yeah. And
my son's one partner is Ryan Zimmerman from the Washington Nationals.
Oh, wow. Well, he used to kill the Phillies, man. Yeah. Ryan Zimmerman. He finally retired, I believe, but he was tough.
And now he's a restaurateur.
Is he? Nice. Yeah. Down in Washington, D.C., yeah. Unbelievable. So, what's your next step? I mean, you get the vacation out of the way and you get ready for, what are you going to be doing here?
We're just, trying to get these guys ready. So I'm gonna have the room open 2 nights a week. At least 2 nights a week, maybe a third night for weightlifting. And we're just going to get everything together. I want them to see where they're at technically, and see how I can help them build on what they're doing. I had the experience of going over to Poland when I was younger, and I learned how to throw from one of the top throwing coaches in the world. His name was Peter Stroh. He's 74 years old. He dumped me on my head like 10, 15 times a day. But he taught me how to throw. So I'll teach these kids how to throw, trips, sweeps, stuff that you don't see in this area.
Well, that's great. How can people get in touch with you, Ed?
Just...
He's on Facebook, Ed Bailey.
Yeah, Facebook. You can Facebook. If you private message me, I'll give you my phone number. We'll sit down and we'll talk, and I'll help anybody's program. It doesn't matter to me.
I'd love to see some of the Chester kids go over and see what the wrestling's like, man.
I'll bring them in. I'll bring them in because I have that ability from the Chester Boys and Girls Club. We'll bring them up and have a night for them so that they can actually come in and they can see what it's all about. And my buddy Jeff Cunningham just passed, and what a shame. And Jeff and I were very, very close in what we did for the Chester Boys and Girls Club. And I had talked to his wife and asked Patrice. I said, "Would you like me?" Was Jeff on the board? She said, "Yeah." I said, "Would you like me to apply for his slot?" And she said, absolutely. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to apply for it.
And you're working full time.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I go to work at 4:30 in the morning. It don't matter. I get
Wow.
up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm talking to the dogs. Like, hey, what's up there, brother? It's just
Incredible. Ed Bailey, Pride of Chester. It's great, man. So this is it's an awesome thing.
Yeah.
What you're doing. So good luck to Chichester, and I hope. Well, do you know what kind of tournament you're going to be in? What kind of schedule? Some of the teams you may play next year.
Yeah. So I just
I shouldn't say play, wrestle.
I just redid the whole schedule. So we should hit 60 different teams during the course of the year.
Oh, you're in some tournaments too.
Yeah. So we're in more tournaments than we are in regular dual meets because I want them to see as many different styles as they possibly can. And then we'll kind of shut it down at the end, right before sectionals and districts, and really, really hone in on what they need to do. I don't have a problem with going to scout. I said, I'll scout for you. You don't have to go. You can go if you want to sit next to me. I'll show you what you need to be looking at. You know, what a guy's doing, how his hands are positioned. If he's banging on your head, how to get him off your head.
How about my man Stan Zalata, Malvern Prep? His kids, yeah. So he's my Now you're my other go-to guy. He would help me out during the wrestling postseason. I'm trying to follow what local guys have a chance to go all the way and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, Malvern's got an interesting situation. Those kids, and Nate does a wonderful job with those kids. Nate Lauder's his name. Nate does a wonderful job with them guys. And he treats all his kids like they're his brothers. And a real good situation for them. And he's done well with those guys.
Oh, yeah.
He's done well.
They've got some one of the top wrestlers in the country. Did he just graduate?
Matt Feldman.
Yeah,
he was the number one guy in the country. So he's at Ohio State right now.
There you go.
So there's talk he might be switching over through the portal and going to Penn State, but I don't think that'll happen.
That's unbelievable. Jean-Pierre, you like wrestling, don't you? There you go. All right. Well, this is a great thing. We'll keep in touch with Ed. A lot of people here, and it's great to have you on the show.
It's great. Thank you very much.
All right.
I would love to. If you ever need me for anything, please feel free to call me. And,
we had Titus Robinson. We talked about getting the high school soccer going here, and Mike Barr wanted to get that going years ago. Mike was at Strathaven, the fiery, intense coach. So
I tried to get the wrestling program. I thought, listen, I'll coach for nothing. I just want this program back. And so I think it's just a matter of time. And we have this Beat the Streets. If Beat the Streets will get involved, that is what you need for the mentoring, and that's they spend time with the kids, after school programs and things like that. It's just really, really strong program. Right. And that's what you need. I mean, you have to let these kids know you love them, because it's been, I'm a Chester kid, so, if I didn't have Joe Carroll hugging me and talking me up and get me where I need to be, it would have been tough. I was raised by a single parent. My mom was, and it was tough. There were times that were tough, and Joe always gave me a hug. So
yeah, Joe's still around. He was at the coached some great Chester football teams over the years. Yeah,
Joe and Brian Mulhern. I was talking with Earl Mosley the other day.
Earl Mosley.
I was talking to Butch the other day.
Yeah, Brian passed away, unfortunately, but he had his sons. He has two excellent grandsons that just left Strathaven. Ike Jones. Ike married his daughter, Kate. Yeah. Okay, so they had Ike is going the ninth. Marcus is going to go to ninth grade. They're both transferred to Haverford School. So and then Matt is going to redshirt or reclassify, so he's Matt Jones. So you have to follow the Jones boys, Brian Mulher, and the other grandfather is Harry Jones. Yeah. Played another Providence back in the 60s. So great bloodlines all over Delaware County. All right, Ed, thank you very much. Ed Bailey, new head wrestling coach at Chichester High School. I'm Dave Burman. Jean-Pierre, thank you very much. DelcoSports360.com, and we'll see you next time.
Go Eagles.